Happy Monday. Happy Make Your Move Monday, folks. Final Monday of the month. So you already know, if you're a regular consumer, you know where we're going. We got to assess all our monthly goals, see how we did, putting myself on the hot seat, breaking it all down. Make sure we're good. Why is this? All right, let me just share everything out. Mic check. Facebook, we're good. Facebook, we're good. Let's get it. Let's get right into it. And let me just check YouTube, and then we're going to get this party started the way it needs to be started. And also, we're going to get into a Make Your Move kickoff question like we always do. Make Your Move Monday kickoff question, which is how to go prompt to product. You like how I did that, because everybody's prompting these days, figuring out what the right prompt is. How to go prompt to product. You like how I did that, because everybody's talking about how to go from prompt and what's the right prompt and how we going to do this and how we going to do that. And we're going to break all that down. We discuss all of that over here in the Move Swiftly world. First and foremost, let me just introduce myself to anybody that may be a newcomer, first-time consumer, first-time new to this channel. Make sure you're liking, commenting, and subscribing to the channel. My name, Aswan Crookshank. I am your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, former Division I college football player, and current five-time, very soon to be six-time published author. Probably we'll be talking about that today. Very soon to be six-time published author and educator. I created this whole system, this whole brand, this whole way of thinking, a way of life that's all about taking the innovative teamwork lessons that you learn on the football field and aligning them with business owners, so they have alignment with businesses and business owners, so they have a staff and a group of employees that moves as efficiently and as cohesively and as passionate and has that same eagerness and has that same hunger, has that same drive as a championship high school or youth football team. You want that. You want to mirror the mentality of your championship youth football team with your business. You want to mirror that mentality. That's what we do around here in the Move Swiftly world. And as you can tell, I'm a little extra pumped today, seeing that we're in the last day of June, which means we're just inches. I mean, a blink, a sneeze, and just kind of a turnaround away. And college football is back, baby. College football is back. And even though, it's been one of those off seasons where you have to see Ohio State win and all that stuff. It's been just a blessing, but one of the best off seasons for me personally. So again, one of the things that I actually started doing, as I mentioned in the intro today, I started jotting down my monthly goals, holding myself accountable, putting my monthly goals out there every month so I can publicly go back, see where I messed up, see where I didn't do well, see what needed to happen. All of this goes into making sure you look up 10, 15 years down the line and you have a system that's working harder than you, that you have put a system in place in which you can give off your system to somebody new or somebody coming up while you go and focus on other things. That's when you're really putting in your work and really putting in the hours and the time and effort and energy that you need to be putting in. So we're going to be discussing that today, but we also have a Make Your Move kickoff question as well that I'll be addressing. All of that we do every single Monday. That is what we do when we talk about consistency. Consistency is one of the main ingredients over here in the Move Swiftly world. So before we get into all that, let me get through a couple announcements real quick, and then we will jump right into everything. First and foremost, as I mentioned, business owners, if you have not yet, be sure to go to freeguide.makeyourmove.com. I have compiled a very easy to understand list. Of 10 steps, easy to understand 10-step process in which you can utilize right now in your business, so you have a team that moves more cohesively. We work in a very easy to understand formula here. First and foremost, you have to establish measurables. Establishing measurables plus a professional distance, all right? Those are the two keys. Measurables, a professional distance, and then and only then where you have the productive environment that will lead to the results that you are looking for, which are maximizing your profits, getting the most out of your services, getting the most out of whatever it is you're attempting to do. All right. It's freeguide.makeitmove.com. Now, let's say you've already done your research on me, or you've already looked me up, and you don't even have to have looked me up, but you have already been sold on the fact that you need to invest right now. You need to invest right now in your employee development, because you're so sick and tired of losing employees. You're so sick and tired of your employee retention rates going so high. You just can't take it anymore, and you're ready to go ahead and pull the trigger right now. You can go to makeitmove.com. That's makeitmove.com. You can just book me to speak right there. You can book a meeting with me. You can shop there. You can get whatever information you need done on me. It's right available there for you to check out on makeitmove.com. That is makeitmove.com. And that is your one-stop shop for all your teamwork and your self-development needs. All right. So here's what I'll do today. Let me let today's Move Swiftly thought. I'll let today's Move Swiftly thought play, the one I recorded this morning, and then we'll go from there. Believe it or not, this is kind of a later morning for me. I was driving early this morning. So the plan this morning was actually to run 2 miles, kind of a rest day, and I ended up running 6. So that 6 miles, I paid the price for the 6 miles because, I ended up starting the live a little later than I normally started. But I'll play the Move Swiftly thought today, and then we'll come back after that and address that and stuff like that. So let's let it roll.
You've got a big new website idea and the team loves it. Instead of taking months to build it, why don't you just use Framer? With Framer designing...
Come on. It's Juan Crookshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, checking in for a daily Move Swiftly thought, giving you a perspective on teamwork. So we're not getting anywhere, so we do not teach you to rise to the occasion. We teach here to fall to your level of preparation. Again, plan was sort of a takeoff day. Plan kind of going this 2 miles, end up going 6. Mentality, levels of preparation. Again, one of the things, though, on a serious note, when you get nice weather like this, you want to make sure you're taking advantage of it. Growing up in the Northeast and DMV, I learned that as we had those like fall going into winter months. We had a nice day. Let's get outside. Let's get after. Woo! So give me a second here because the adrenaline was pumping. Last Monday, June 30th, last day of June, and I'm going to put myself on trial. There's 2 things going on. There's the Make You Move Monday kickoff question and how I did the evaluation in terms of how I did on the goals. Started doing this a couple months ago, making sure the last Monday of every month, I restated my goals, reviewed my goals, where did I go wrong, what happened, and doing this publicly. So make sure you like and comment and subscribing to the channel, because I'll be breaking all that down in about an hour or 2 from this recording. As far as the Make Your Move kickoff question today, what we'll be discussing all week, and probably what led to the poor grade that I gave myself throughout this month, is how to go from prompt to product. I spent a lot of time past couple months really getting to know, or I should say ChatGPT getting to know me getting to know ChatGPT to the point where it's offloaded a ton of stuff, offloaded a lot of things in my business that previously when I wasn't using it, a lot of things weren't getting done, right? So what happened is there's a new product, as you can see on the store, the Wintrepreneur t-shirts, and that was actually just one of many different logos and designs that ChatGPT came up with. It just so happens that was the one that got the best reviews amongst the people that I was sending it to and saying which one is best, which one is this, and it created a product. And that's where we want to make sure we're discussing today and throughout the week, is how to properly go from prompt to product. Because what can happen is you can get so caught up in prompts and get so caught up in AI and ChatGPT doing a lot of the work for you that you forget to figure out what your mission is, where the alignment is, how you want to tell your story through your branding and through your logos and through your merch and through however it is you want to get the word out about what you do. It has to be within a mission. Like the mission alignment have got to be really much very much on tack, because if it's not, then you get swallowed up and you get kind of twirled around in terms of what ChatGPT can do, and ultimately what ends up happening, which is what you want to avoid. And the point of me bringing all this up is you want to avoid you working for ChatGPT or you working for AI and AI not working for you. So that's the way we're going to break it down throughout the week. Be sure, again, you're liking, comment, subscribing to the channel, as we'll break all this down throughout the week on the live streams. Main website to check out to dive deeper into everything I'm doing.
All right, let's get into it. So, like I just said, or like you just heard, for podcast listeners, now I'm back. Make sure you're doing what I said in that video. Is not only are we breaking down my monthly goals, but we're also doing it understanding that ChatGPT has offloaded a ton of the work, but I'm very careful. I want to do this with you all. I want to align with you all. When I say this, I'm very careful not to let ChatGPT become a boss, but more continue to use it like it's an employee and offload the work that I'm still able to do, right? This is a very key component because this is new to everyone. This has been new to everyone. I've been in situations where I'm seeing people now treat ChatGPT as if it is their boss. And when that's the wrong way to use it, you still have to put in the same amount of work that you were putting in before. It's here to be a tool for you to take advantage of, all right? And you're not going to be able to get there if you don't hold yourself accountable. This self-accountability piece doesn't matter what the new technology is, but the self-accountability piece is what we have to address today and what we're going to be addressing throughout the entire week. All right. It's a great tool. It's a great opportunity, but I've already seen it. Again, I work in education. I work with amongst educators who are using ChatGPT to just solve all their problems, or to make it like ChatGPT is going to create lessons plans for them or create things for them that they should be doing themselves. All right. That they need to have a personal touch. And that's what we're going to do today. That's what we're going to discuss. And it's not really just in education. It's really just in the world in general. Even when you see people search stuff up, instead of them actually doing the proper research on certain things, now they're trusting ChatGPT. They're trusting AI mode. They're making it so they're letting new technology, they're letting a new way of doing things, they're letting it become like the thing telling them what to do, as opposed to them telling it what to do. So we're going to break all that down. Let's get right into the article now. So podcast listeners, I'm reading directly from the article, medium.com. Make sure you follow me there on Move Swiftly 44. There will be a gift. I'm working on it, but there will be a gift for those who do follow me on medium.com. That's where I do all my writing material. Again, I started all of this started as me as a writer, me being a writer, writing up scouting reports, and writing is kind of my way of communicating, and it's kind of a form of therapy for me. So I personally still love to go and sit on my laptop and just sit down by my laptop and write properly, get certain things off my chest in a way I want to say it. So again, medium.com. If I could, between Medium and YouTube, if I can get rid of all my other platforms, it'd be Medium and YouTube. That's it. Those would be the two: Medium, YouTube, and LinkedIn probably will be one of those because you could do articles on LinkedIn as well. So, all right. So directly from the article, here it is: Make Your Move Monday, monthly recap, and prompt to product. Here we go. Wintrepreneur tees, again, go make sure you get those at makeyourmove.com. So another Monday, and not just any Monday. It's the final Monday of June. And around here in the Move Swiftly Sports Marketing platform, that means it's time for two key things. All right. Number one, how we did professionally over the past month. When I say we, I'm talking about myself. How we did professionally over the past month. And number two, setting new goals and launching a new kickoff question for the month ahead. Let's dive in. I'm putting it on blast right now. Okay. I'm putting it on blast right now. I'm putting myself on blast right now. My monthly grade, my monthly June grade. I want this for all the people to hear, the people in the back, so you understand As One does not just come up here and be critical of other people. I am not that person that's just going to go and talk about another person without holding myself accountable for the shit I do and the stuff I mess up on. All right. My monthly assessment for the June is a D, a capital D. I am giving myself a D. All right. Let's call it what it is. I'm reading directly from the article now, guys. Let's call it what it is. I'm giving myself a D professionally this month. Now, personally, again, professionally, I have a D. personally, my personal life, the things that have gone on in my personal life, it's a much better grade. All right. And I'll leave that conversation offline. But that is a conversation that we will be having at some point publicly. Just know that. All right. Because my professional and my personal lives, that when you're a professional like I am, that's constantly on the internet, you can constantly go look up stuff on me. The professional and the personal life, they're going to be merging in ways. So the reason professionally I have to give myself a D is because in my personal life and in my physical life, I increased to I'd say maybe an A or a B throughout the month between my personal and my physical life. I got to an A or B. I weighed myself 2 days ago. My goal weight has always been 200. And I weighed myself. I was with my girl and I weighed myself and I was like 196 and I was hype and stuff. But because, I moved by the 3 Ps: physical, personal, professional. So as professionally as if it's a D, then you better believe physically and personal, it's probably going to go A or B. That's still kind of the structure and the way we move around here. So just so you guys know that. So now, personally, I'd say I earned a much better grade, but that's a conversation for another day. Let's look at what I set out to do last month. Let's put myself on trial. Let's go to last month. You see it, May 26th. No days off. I remember doing this on Memorial Day. I was actually with my girl on Memorial Day in Naples. And I remember leaving the hotel room and going over that particular Monday before everybody woke up. And I was like, because that was the week we were talking about black fatigue and my new monthly goals and all that. So let's just jump right into it. Last month, this was the plan. Write chapters 4 and 6 by June 15th. That didn't get done. Outline chapters 7 through 10. Now, they were talking, when I say chapters, I mean for the new book I'm going to be writing, which is called How to Be a Wintrepreneur. Outline chapters 7 through 10 by June 30th. That didn't get done. And reached 100 new leads per day. That didn't get done. It did get done during some days. I did get to 100 on some days, but I didn't do it every single day. So I'm going to be addressing that in a second. And then the follow-up system based on performance and data from outreach. So of all 4 of these things, the last thing is the only thing that actually, in my opinion, based on what I set out to do last month, this last thing, refine the follow-up system based on performance data and from research, that was the only thing that got done in some ways got done. The only reason it wasn't an F this month is because this follow-up system that I created, that I found just based on, trying to figure out how to align personal, professional, physical, and kind of put all that together. The follow-up system based on performance, that I would say that is what kept me from failing this month. We'll say it like that. It kept me from failing. So it got me to where I got a passing grade. Sometimes when you're in school, you get a D, and if you're struggling in class, sometimes you're actually just happy you didn't fail because hey, it just wasn't you, right? So my monthly assessment, June grade, it was a D. Let's call it what it is. I give myself a D. So we went over the other article. So here it is. June goals, like I mentioned, going directly from the article. Find a follow-up system based on performance data and research. All right. Right. So we already went over that. So only one of the 4 got done. And I'll own that. The follow-up system is now more effective. And it even led to having a guest return on the show for a second appearance. But the rest, I underestimated how much time I have available between work, launching new content, and now being in a committed relationship. I misjudged how much bandwidth I'd have to write chapters and execute daily outreach. So as we enter July, the theme is realignment and repositioning. Hear me, folks. This is important for you to grasp. I want to make sure I'm pausing when I say this, all right? No one, and I learned this early on in my football playing career. There's not an individual out there who's sitting around, and whether it's them doing what I do and, talking on camera, thought leaders, authors, speakers, educators, coaches, parents, doesn't matter who it is. Nobody is sitting here telling you to be perfect. A spouse, right? Nobody is sitting here saying you got to be perfect in every fucking thing that you do. You got to be perfect at this. You got to be perfect. No one's telling you to be perfect. What I am explaining to you and what I'm showing you based on my own assessment of what I did is that You got to be striving to be perfect. You got to try. You got to own up to the shit that didn't get done and then say, okay, I could take that. Why didn't it get done? And where are the holes? If you're not striving to be perfect, if you're not striving to be better, if you're not making it so you're trying, like actually trying, then you're not going to see the results. And every step you turn, and every way, and every moment you have to have some reflection, every moment that you have to really take some time to say, hey, I messed up on this. I need to figure it out. Every moment like that is going to get brushed off. It's going to get deflected because there's always some damn excuse that you're going to have that is not going to be conducive to your development. Understand what I just did. I just explained it to you publicly. The goals that I set for myself professionally were not met. That does not mean Aswan's going to go sulk and, just kind of, all right, I'm this thought leadership stuff ain't for me. This stuff ain't for, fuck that. Okay, no, the next sentence is, okay, we in July, we're figuring out where did I make my adjustments? Where did I make my failures? Where did the things that went wrong? How did they go wrong? Why did they go wrong? What went positive about this? What exactly? It's almost like there's a scene. One of my favorite shows was the Game with Tia. I think it was Tia Mowry and the girl, the principal from the Steve Harvey show. She was in it, and Derwin Davis, and it was documenting professional football players and what their wives go through and all that kind of stuff. So the main two characters in the show was like a sitcom series was Derwin Davis and Melanie Barnett. There was like the couple that moved from wherever Derwin gets drafted by this pro team, and it's documenting what the wives go through and all that kind of stuff. So long story short is the wife of the professional football player, there was a point where she found out that he cheated on her and yada, 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 and she had to move back. She was contemplating moving back home because she didn't want to be the wife of an NFL star. Again, great story. Again, a lot of people may just go look it up because I'm pretty sure it comes out. I don't watch too much TV these days, but pretty sure it shows up. In fact, it's actually my sister that put me on to the show because she said, real bacchanal. Let's be going on this show, but real bacchanal. Anyway, so there was a point where Melanie was thinking about moving back home, and then she went to, I think, Derwin's stylist or whatever, or his publicist or whatever, and instead of her going home, she asked her the question, okay, what do you have right now? What can you put your hands on right now that's going to get you by tomorrow? It's going to get you tomorrow before you have to go run back home. And that's what has to happen when you have months or something goes wrong and things don't go according to plan. You got to ask yourself, what do I currently have right now in my possession that's going to get me by to get to tomorrow, and then just get to tomorrow and keep betting on yourself and get to tomorrow. That has to be the mentality. Doesn't matter what kind of resources you have made available to you. What do you have right now that's going to get you to tomorrow? Get you to tomorrow, and then when tomorrow comes, you're ready. You know what moves to make. You know what moves not to make because you've already hit that rock bottom. You've already hit that failure, and now you're ready to roll. That's life, folks. That's life, and that's how it's supposed to work. So let's get back into it. Let's get back into the article. So here it is, my July goals. Let me go back because I went on a little mini tangent there. So only one out of going down. Let me get some water. All right, only one out of four got done. Talking about the goals, and I'll own that. The follow-up system is now more effective and even led to having a guest return to the show for a second appearance. But the rest, I underestimated how much time I'd have available between work, launching new content, and now being in a committed relationship. I misjudged how much bandwidth I'd have to write chapters and execute daily outreach. So as we enter July, the theme is realignment and repositioning. All right, so here we are again. July monthly goals. July monthly goals. When we get to the last month in July, we're going to reassess this and see how we did. All right, so starting with the first one. Number one, start training clients again. For those of you who don't know, I'm a certified boxing coach and author of Make Your Move, a book on how boxing benefits athletes across all sports. All right, it's right here. Get you a copy. MakeYourMove.com. MakeYourMove.com. Make your move. Make your move. A unique look into boxing, dance, and entrepreneurship. All right, you can go get that on MakeYourMove.com. All right. So during COVID, all right, well, let me go back for that paragraph because I did a quick little promo there. shout out to all the people that have been telling me I need to do more promos and stuff like that. So anyway, for those who don't know, I'm a certified boxing coach and author of Make Your Move, a book about how boxing benefits athletes across all sports. Grab it here. Go to MakeYourMove.com and get that. So during COVID, I had to pivot into education. But for the past year, I've been offering free boxing classes every other week in a local park. Go to freeboxing.makeyourmove.com if you're interested in doing that. Now it's time to scale that. Not only will paid training bring another stream of income, it gives me more face time with people I can serve through my employee development workshop. Plus, my school has announced a role transition for me to become their sport and fitness director, which perfectly aligns with this next chapter. So just so we break that down a little more clear. Now, as a person, I do teach full time. So I teach full time, and the school I teach at, it's a brand new school. It started 30 years ago, but it was just an art. So it's an art integrated school. And I remember I was just having this conversation with the principal. So the thing with the school I teach at the Center for Creative Education, we are here not to expand. We're not here to build a bunch of different locations. The goal is to become the one model so people come to us and they ask us, hey, how were you able to help these kids improve their reading scores? We just did 2 graduations, and the stats were mentioned at both the kindergarten graduation and the 5th grade graduation that the surrounding 8 schools in this area have 3rd graders reading at like 25% of some really, really small number, maybe 18, maybe below 20% of those 3rd graders are not reading on grade level. And we have well over 80% of our 3rd graders reading on grade level. So being able to understand the efficiency and the way we're engaging learning through arts, that's how the concept of the school was built. All right. So the issue with the school system and why I trash the school system so much, why I'm so hard and so disgusted with a lot of the school system and the educators out there, the way the education system, the business of it. I mean, honestly, it built up the fire that's lit inside of me is seeing how other education systems are, how fucking disrespectful and just trash it is, to the point where now I'm now more so interested in homeschooling. And I'm not talking about the school. I'm talking about the schools in general. And I've been through all of them. Grew up in Maryland, went to every single kind of school you could think of. If you get me started on just the education system in totality in this country, I will just start going off on it. All right. But the point is, the main problem with the education, one of the many problems is when it comes to budgets and when it comes to cutting funding, the 2 first things that are usually gone are the arts department and the physical education department. All right. So when you have a meeting, let's say you have a meeting in the education system and they're thinking about where to put their resources, the first 2 things that normally get cut is art and PE. Art and PE. All right. And that right there is why the education system is so trash. You're not teaching kids to be creative, and then you're not valuing their physical ability and how in shape they become. All right. So what we do at CCE, at Center for Creative Education, is we integrate the art through the education system. And they've been doing that for 30 years. It started as just after school thing, and then they turned it into a school. But again, because we're still new, there still needs to be the physical education component. You're looking at the perfect guy to really fill that gap. And that was actually one of the things when they interviewed me 3 years ago now, that was one of the things that I was like, yo, listen, you're talking to the man for all of that. We're going to break all that down. But again, we'll talk more about that on another day. But the point is, when the announcement came, it hit me at that point that I have to be more proactive, because at the end of the day, they're still educators, and in education, it's a lot like politics. They move very, very slow in regards to when things get done, and I can't depend on their timeline. So when that announcement came, my initial reaction was, okay, since I'm already training people at the park, I got my boxing classes kind of somewhat back. I'm still doing my thing every 2 weeks. It's not taking up too much of my time. See, the problem when it came to training or having clients and training people in boxing, it was taking too much time. But what happened was I met another owner of a gym, another wellness company. It's BNA Wellness. And, I got to meet up with him, and he was telling me how, when it comes to the mitts and how we do things here, there's ways I can factor it into my time frame, especially seeing that I'm at a school now that's connecting with other people, and their outreach goals are very similar to mine. Then if I start training clients again, what starts to happen is the whole 100 leads that I planned on reaching out to myself, a lot of that stuff can start getting done because I'm pursuing this, and there's a marketing machine behind me for them to promote what it is I do and how I do it, as opposed to what I was trying to do last month, which was sit down for an hour and try to knock out 100 leads a day, which was not something I'm not willing to do. Just a matter of, is it going to be worth the time? See, that's the thing about entrepreneurship. The greatest gift you can give somebody is your time as an entrepreneur. It's like, it's a form of currency. It's a form of currency. All right. So number one, this is July goals. Start training clients again. For those who don't know, certified boxing coach, author of Make It Move, makeitmove.com, and how boxing benefits athletes across all sports. Grab it here. During COVID, I had to pivot into education, but for the past year, I've been offering free boxing classes at the local park. Now it's time to scale that. Not only will paid training bring in another stream of income, it gives me more face time with people I can serve through my employee development workshops. Plus, my school has announced a role transition for me to become their sport and fitness director, which perfectly aligns with the next chapter. So that's number one. When I say they've aligned that role, they've made the announcement, but it's not 100, because it boils down to just some semantic shit where it's depends on what hours we decide for the kids. But for the most part, that's the direction I'm moving in. And this is another point too, that I'll get into goals 2 and 3. Whenever that happens and your name comes up in something that you didn't plan, it's almost like getting a promotion or getting a raise, right? Whenever your name comes up with something new, exciting, something brand new that could be happening within your organization, you can't wait for them to figure this shit out. All right. When you start realizing, hey, you're unique in your efforts, you're unique in your ability, you're unique in some sort of skill trait that you have, jump on that shit, man. Jump on it. Take some initiative. Write down something. Put down something on paper. Take the initiative now so you can swing it and kind of tweak it so you don't need to depend on anybody. You can do it on your own. That's how you really write your own ticket. And you heard the term write your own ticket. It's like when I used to tell younger players that I coach, if they're younger and they're showing the talent, man, don't wait. Put that mofo on varsity right now. Put them on varsity right now. Get your feet wet and go ball. Because by the time, let's say it's a freshman, by the time that freshman who was on varsity, by the time the freshman was on varsity, by the time he becomes a senior, it's over. It's over. He's moving in a direction where it's yo, you're not saying anything to me because I'd already been there and done that. There's no age. When somebody sees the talent in you. So what happened was when somebody sees my ability and my uniqueness in terms of what I can offer a big organization, I'm not waiting around for them to figure out what hours it's going to be and how that going to work. Nah. You're going to more so take the initiative, right? Take the initiative to start creating opportunities on your own. So you make it so you don't need to work for anybody. You can go and create your own streams of income and create your own opportunities just based off the way you move, based off the things you see. That's how it got to get done, folks. That has to be the mentality. This is what we teach over here in the Move Swiftly world. We teach mentality. We teach that mentality, that dog, that hunger, that eagerness. You see, it's almost like you're a bull and you see in red and you're like, that's the mentality. That's that go-getter spirit. All right, let me stop. I'm ranting. I'm ranting right now. I know there's a lot of rants going on. Again, we're only a month away from college football, folks. So I'm a little excited. Number two, get to chapter 8 of the book. All right. The goal is to finish the book with 10 chapters. I'm already about 60% through. and writing articles regularly. So now it's a matter of repackaging my consistency into longer form content. Why the urgency? Just said it. Football season is approaching, and I plan to start pre-sales while pitching speaking engagements alongside the release. With 5 books already published, I know writing and selling are 2 separate beasts. This time I'm preparing for both. All right. Hear me, folks. Hear me loud and clear. Hear me loud and clear. As you can see, I am a very, really psychotic, huge fan of the Michigan Wolverines football team. And let me just give you a story real quick to illustrate my point. This book right here was written during the championship season that we had 2 years ago. It was written there because, and as a matter of fact, I'll just show you why I'm a Michigan fan. You see that kid that's wearing 44 right there? Yeah, that's me with the wing helmets. That's why you see me to this day just absolutely obsessed with that team and the mentality and all that. But I wrote this because during that year we saw transition, we saw NIL, we saw things coming down the pipeline, NIL, transfer portal, a bunch of stuff that was going on, that college football, we just kind of saw the writing on the wall that it wasn't going to be the same. And what happened was, at the time, I was paying for coaching with my guy, Dre Baldwin, and I was mentioning to him that I don't know if I want to do another book or how it would work, or if I was, here's how the conversation started. I said, if I do another book, I would like to go the traditional publishing route, not the self-publishing route, the traditional publishing route. They give you a set of money and, they have promotion behind it. There's all sorts of things. And then he goes, yeah, but the problem is with self-publishing, it's going to take with traditional publishing, it's going to take too long for the book to get out, and any changes or anything going on with the book, that you have to give them a portion, stuff like that. And as the problems were happening and you saw it in real time, you saw college football again in this crossroads, I was like, look, my experience, I transferred from a D2 to a D1. I know I bit everything that they're talking about on TV as one has already lived through that. So that's when this came out. And then again, it wasn't planned, obviously, but the team I cheer for won the national championship. And then the greatest coach of all time, both of those go between Nick Saban and Coach Harbaugh. Nick Saban retired, and then Coach Harbaugh moved on to the NFL. So there was a kind of a time capsule for that team 144, that time capsule in 2023. And that's where transferring D1 came from. All right. So there's a way of really freezing time and understanding that. So having a book, creating a book, you have got to make sure you can tell that story, not that story specifically, but there has to be something unique about the book in order for you to sell it, because you got to sell it. So what book number 6 is going to be about is all about the term that I created a whole year ago at this point, which is winterpreneurship, and articles have already been written about winterpreneurship. Again, you go look up winterpreneur. There's nobody else on the internet but myself using it, because it's a term that I created. So when it comes to now writing a new book, I can utilize ChatGPT. Like all 3 of these, I paid someone to proofread those, but now ChatGPT can proofread them. I can, sit down, I can really take my time and figure it out, but not too much time, because as I'm pitching myself towards doing speaking gigs and, getting consulting contracts with a lot of these athletic programs that need someone like me, you want to make sure that this new term is actually ready. So when I say I want the pre-sales ready, it's a different conversation than having, I want the book to be actually ready. The book may not need to be ready till 2026, but I can go and get the orders and get people buying it the beginning of September, because now they're excited about football season, and I'm telling the story as I'm selling the book to say, hey, pre-order this. And, again, the money doesn't come out until you actually get the book or something like that. These are the things that I did not do going into the books that I had previously written. That is what I mean when I say perspective. You have got to understand the perspective of these things, and you got to understand that, hey, when people have done it, and again, shout out to Dre, because these are things I learned through him. The guy's written 40 books. So he's written 40 books. So he knows what the fucking, and most of both self-published and traditional published. So when you pay for coaching and you learn these things, you can use people to save you time. You can buy time based on what you've learned from other people. All right. So that's what went into goal number 2, was to at least get through chapter 8. Right now, I got through somewhat of some semblance of 6, but the outline is pretty much done. 10 chapters, 10 steps on how to be a wintrepreneur, what a wintrepreneur is all about, what exactly it means to be a wintrepreneur. And again, it goes back to where we failed before when it comes to getting those 100 new leads a day. Those leads can come from whether boxing clients, or they can come from, hey, these are athletic departments trying to figure out how they can help their athletes go into what's next, or they're just looking for somebody to shed some light, to shed some insight on their athletic program that's struggling. So again, all of this is moving in kind of a moving in a order that complements, one thing complements the next. All right, so that's number 2. Number 3. More promo behind Film Session Saturday. All right. So I want to call. So again, I'll read it directly, and then we'll adjust it, and I'll close you guys out too. So more promo behind Film Session Saturday. Long term, I want to call play-by-play for college football at the network level. So that's why I started a new channel called Film Session Saturday. All right, you guys see it here. I don't want to put too much on it because I don't want this channel, but yeah, Film Session Saturday, as you can see, right? I started this the Saturday after the college football season ended in 2025, which I had to watch the Buckeyes win a national championship. And as much as I hated seeing that, I just missed, being able to watch college football on Saturday. So that's why I started that channel, right? So not only did I start that channel, but I recognized my ability as a play-by-play announcer, my ability as a public speaker, and something that a lot of people, 98%, 99% of the world would rather die than actually publicly speak. Like, that's how frightening and terrifying public speaking is for a lot of people. So knowing that I'm in that 2% of people that actually want to be speaking publicly, want to develop, want to figure out how I can be doing this, what terms I could be using better, how I could sound more authentic. All of these things I was like really heavy into. I said, okay, being a play-by-play announcer, that puts me in front of more business owners that may be interested, may or may not be interested in the employee development workshop. And it allows me to continue to talk about the game and seeing that the foundation of my business is built off college football. All right, this is a solid hill to stand on. This is a solid place to plant my flag to say this is part of the operation over here in the Move Swiftly world. So this channel lets me speak on something I know deeply, and at the same time, it puts me in front of business owners who could benefit from my corporate training. So in July, expect way more content and outreach behind that channel. Kickoff question here now, all that we went through all of that to finally get to today's kickoff question. Right? How do you go from prompt to product? Let me give you some real life context. You've seen the new Wintrepreneur t-shirts in the shop, right? You can buy it right here. It was the thing that I put as the photo, the image for this article. These are the new Wintrepreneur t-shirts. Go get them on makeyourmove.com, right? So let me just give you the quick story on how I came up with it, right? So that entire product started with a simple prompt to ChatGPT. That's it. This is the world we live in now, an AI-powered world that rewards people who know how to take initiative and turn prompts into products. You want to be a boss, learn how to use AI like an employee. So tomorrow we'll dive deeper into that for Top 5 Tuesday. But today, think about this. What prompt have you been sitting on that could turn into a product? It's not about working harder. It's about working smarter and faster. Let's get it. Make it move. Hashtag monthly goals. Hashtag move swiftly. Hashtag wintrepreneur. Hashtag boxing mindset. Hashtag film session Saturday. Hashtag AI entrepreneurship. Again, I told you, man, college football rolls around. It's a different energy around here. So just to kind of recap, again, we went over the monthly goals. I gave you my grade. I strongly recommend you start incorporating some sort of process that's relatable to this, because holding yourself accountable, and if you look up and you're just out there grinding, working without there being a sense of reflection or a test day or something coming up, then when you're not getting to the places or the results that you want to get to, it starts to become incredibly discouraging. And in many situations, it's just a matter of adjusting the lens. That's really it. And there's a lot of businesses, a lot of folks who've given up on their goals and given up on their dreams and given up on their long-term goals because they haven't had someone teach them how to just adjust the lens a little bit. That's it. Okay, you got the drive, you got the hunger, you got the plan, you got the fact that you want this shit, B. You got it, that you just want it. Just teach them how to adjust it. Adjust that lens a little bit. Adjust it here, adjust it there. Do this, do it like that. Pay for coaching. Again, a lot of these things start coming up when you understand, hey, I have something, so I'm going to really capitalize on it. And if I'm going to fail tons of times in the process, but the key is, am I getting my ass back up and figuring out how to do it better the next time. Remember, chase the work. Don't chase the credit. All right. So all that being said, main website to dive deeper into all this, all the work I'm doing, it's makeyourmove.com. It's MakeYamove.com. One-stop shop for your teamwork and your self-development needs. As Juan Cruikshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker. Check it out. You guys continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.